guys, so a while back I bought a Pac Man cabaret cab from a company called Coin Up Warehouse in the US, and I got it shipped over through Retro Games Party. They organize big containers of arcade cabinets, and when they've enough they ship them over. So it arrived in England a while ago, and then I sorted out transport from England over here. Anyway, long story short, it's arrived, and I'm on my way to pick it up. Now the reason I got it is because I wanted it, but it was quite cheap. It's in desperate need of a complete refurbish, but it's all original parts and etc, etc. So I'm gonna pick it up, see what condition it's in, and that's pretty much the start of a new project. I'm actually picking it up from the warehouse, the transport company. They can deliver to your home, but you have to arrange that, you know, you have to be there and all that. It's actually, with a big van like that, it's actually much easier for me to pick it up from the warehouse. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's go. So I'm just home and collected the cab. That took a while. Actually, I lifted the cab out of the van now, and I should probably close the door of the van. But I got it. So this is my. Well, you've probably seen the video by now, but doesn't that look cool in the dark? The tiny bit of Christmas decoration here, but here is the Pac Man cab. So right now. Actually, let me switch this camera around. So right now, it's not quite a Pac Man cab. Hello, dude, you just had my buzz in you. You're limping still, buddy. Dude is getting old, and yeah, buddy. And he had a broken paw years and years ago when he was a pup. But now he's limping because arthritis is catching up with you. Anyway, back to the cab. So right now, it's not a Pac Man cab, it's a Trojan. Trojan was a Romstar and Capcom game. Not a great game really, but it's actually quite a rare PCB. I have no interest in it. I might actually resell that along with the marquee, although that's a cool marquee, I might keep that. To resell the PCB. This control panel is actually flaking off. I can't possibly resell that, like it's all dirty. So I need to clean that first. But it's all here, the coin door is here. Although that's locked. I don't have a key for it. The monitor is here. So this was sold, all of it as non-work. It doesn't start, it doesn't work. That's the deal. So I got this for about, what was it, $120, I think, and that's dollars. So it was quite cheap, but it's all there. The serial faded. Is it even there? Is it underneath? Is there something over there? But it's all there. Switch button. So there you go. So the plan here for now is to actually clean it. You can see there's some flaking water damage here. I'll have to tidy all this and treat it, and that can probably just come off. Yeah, the bottom is rough. I'll actually need to clean that. It needs new T-molding. Control panel is all there. I think first order of business is actually get through that coin door. Flip the. Oh my God, this is. Oh, it's probably saying too much. Some gunk in here. Yeah. Buttons are all there. Jeez, look at these start buttons. Were these cone buttons that got worn out? Anyway, but look at, yeah, it needs a good clean first. I wonder, is the marquee, is there a marquee, or the Pac Man marquee, is it inverted? It could be underneath that, I don't know. Anyway, let's clean this and dig in. I'll say that again. Let's dig in and clean this and dig in and actually I managed to open the door from the back. Just unscrewed the this nut here actually lets you sorry, this nut here actually lets you detach this part, which is actually the lock. So, and there's a coin mech here already. I assume that's for quarters. Sorry. Yeah, it's all there. Actually missing the lamps. Actually, no, there's a lamp here. Or is there? Oh, no, that's the oh, so there's no light on those lamps. That's unusual. We'll have to fix that. Yeah, I can see wires were cut here and there, and yeah, it needs some work. So the coin box is there. Actually, that's unusual. A lot of these coin boxes and the first thing to go, because people like coin boxes. Okay, there you go. Gonna detach this guy and see what's underneath. So yeah, in there was also the manual and some schematics. Actually, I see the power supply has been replaced with a switching power supply. That's interesting. Yes, it is. The isolation transformers are still there, although it's hard to see. Let me grab my trusty lamp. It's like a lightsaber, this thing. So, fuses. We'll have to test all these. Wow, the bottom is really destroyed here. Wow, we'll have to reinforce that. Coin panel. Actually, we'll open the coin panel. It's secure with these standard clamps. There you go. That should be open. Oh, the PCB looks clean. Looks very clean, actually. Yeah, I'll probably sell this part. I really don't care for the game, and I already have too many PCBs to fix. I'll give it a quick test and then see. Anyway, let's get back and open this coin door. So yeah, I found these manuals. What's this? AC. So that's probably just power schematics. What's you on there? Or is that for the... No, because it needs +5, +12, -5. I'm not sure actually. What is this? It's probably some of you are familiar with it going, Ollie, fucking idiot, it said. Blah. Yeah, we got AC in here. Okay, so it was probably just the schematics for the power regulation and ground. And then outputting minus, plus, and +12. Some power supply of sorts. And the Trojan, that can't be common. I've never seen one actually. Romstar was very frugal with their manuals. There was no schematics or anything like that. Same with Arkanoid, which makes it a real pain. Control panel, PCB layout. Look at that. I mean, that's PCB layout. That's your. Boy. And that's all they give you. Yeah, Arkanoid was the same. There was just nothing there. Okay, so this doesn't even pivot. Now, why are you all gunked up here? Oh yeah. Although it is all leaf switch, which again is a good thing because it's harder to find leaf switches now. You still find them. It's just they're not more expensive than micro switches, and just find them nicer. Most people do, in fairness. They're just faster and more responsive. You know, you don't have the spring or that sort of not as hard to press. You know, you can really, especially for stuff like Hyper Sport, for example, you don't want a micro switch there. At least I assume you don't, because you're just clicking that thing constantly. Other than that, it's actually in decent conditions here. Yeah. This guy is a bit stiff, but might just need a clean. I'll have to figure out how to clean it. So I got the front panel off. I actually need a special set for this. It's one of those kind of star shaped with a little bit in the middle. I don't know what they're called. I think I do have a set somewhere. I just need to find it. And now you decided you don't want to focus. Anyway, the top here, look at the dirt on this guy. I need to clean everything here. Oh man, and yeah, that's all cracked here, the T-molding. Anyway, that's interesting. I knew about that already. That's I got the idea doing my Donkey Kong camp like that, the marquee lighting. They use those bulbs, bayonet 555 type bulbs. Are they 555? I never know. It's just, I have a ton of these anyway. It's the same one you find in pinballs. So it uses just 5 of these instead of a big tube. Doesn't shine as much, but I sort of prefer it. Actually, this is toast. They're all toast. When you see that kind of metally shine on top of it, they should be see-through. They're all gone. But it doesn't shine as much, but it's just I'm gonna replace these by LEDs as well. Less power intensive. It won't burn your marquee, no, at least not as quickly, and it's easier to replace, you know. There you go. I'll put this back. I'm gonna find this set to just inspect quickly what's under the glass here. I actually see some cracks, do I? No, I thought I did. I do see some masking tape though. There's something, actually there's something over here. To probably have yeah, you can see there's another glass inside here. And I wonder, is it because there's some burn on the monitor? Could well be. Could be. I have a spare monitor anyway over there. I have a ton of spare PS2 as well. I can move them out of my house because they're just taking too much space. I have to find space for them. Yeah, so let's open this. So this is how you get to the glass. You take this off. So there you go. I managed to open this guy. I actually didn't. Well, I did find the right type of tool for it, but they were actually so chewed up. I had to cut a notch in them and just use a flathead screwdriver. Can I focus on this a bit more? There you go. So just to use the Dremel tool to here. Come on, focus. Use the Dremel tool just to cut that notch in them, and then use the flathead screwdriver to get them out. Yeah, I'll probably replace them with just black flatheads. Some people get very upset when you do that, but they're only screws. I know they're not original, but there's original and original, you know, if it gets in the way of you actually fixing the cab. So that's interesting here. I've actually cleaned most of the cab here, although it probably still looks dirty, but trust me, I've cleaned, at least surface cleaned it, so I could actually just touch it without, you know, getting whatever infection. I just used alcohol and swipes. That's actually coming out really, that's in really nice shape actually. I have to say that's in really nice shape. And the whole cab, after inspecting it a lot more, I thought it was in rougher shape than it actually is. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not super clean, but there's some the edges, the bottom is actually not great. I'll have to replace the whole corner here. So I'll have to cut out a corner here and probably replace it. I've seen John's Arcade do that. I'll probably do something similar. But the monitor Still dirty actually. The monitor has some burn in it. You can actually just make out Trojan. You can see the N here. Yeah, there you go, Trojan. And then here, if you look, you can see the high score. So that's the Pac Man. It actually tells me that the top is actually this side, which is good. When I flip it, I won't have to flip it the wrong way by accident. You can see the holes here and here, so I can actually flip it. And inside was, so you had this mask here, which was in this way, which actually funny, slides in a funny angle, but the right shape for it, for this cab anyway, was this way. And then you had this cover here on top of it, which is a sort of dark plexiglass. I have tons of these, but they used to do that to actually hide some of the burn, you know, when there was a bit too much burn on your monitor. It hides that, and you can't actually see the burn anymore. But you have to crank up the brightness then, and it does affect the colors a bit, not too much, but it does a bit. And then I actually thought that there could have been the original Pac Man marquee behind that, but there wasn't. And actually, that's not the right size glass for. So I'm gonna need to find another glass size. I'm just doing this with one hand because this here doesn't fit. Well, I won't have to find another glass. I'm just gonna have to strip the black off. I've done that before. You just paint stripper and take your time doing it. It's actually flaking off here already. That, or I'll have to get another bit of glass recut. It's actually interesting here because this bit actually secures the glass in place. But anyway, so I'm going to take all this out, store it somewhere, and I think what's the first thing I need to do? I think the first thing I need to do is I need to address the wood at the bottom. This bit here, I was actually going to strip all this off and put some new wood veneer, but I think I can live with some of the smaller patches. I'm going to reglue this in place. And here, this bigger chunk that's actually gone, I'm gonna sand the edge off because that's actually there is a bit of swelling here. Actually, it's not too bad. But I think what I'll do here is I'll probably paint and match it. Take my time and just try to match it with paint. And here, I need to take a good chunk off. It's just peeling off. Yeah, it's peeling off really easy. Up to here, there you go. So I think we need to take this corner off altogether, and then find maybe a smaller piece of something similar to match it at the bottom. But if that's the only corner that's bad, and I think it is, I don't think the other bits are as bad. I'll have to bondo the bottom, that's the only thing. But other than that, I think we're okay. I'll probably just trim, slice it. Actually, there's this here as well. And this spoke too fast. Do you know, I can actually live with that. I'd rather have most of the original here, because this type of stuff is actually much more expensive, and the one I have on the Donkey Kong cab is a lot cheaper, doesn't quite match, and it looks fine, and because it's clear that I've made that other cab. But if I put that on here, first it'll look too similar, and I don't know, I'll have to think about it. I kind of like this one, but to find this is actually quite expensive, and I'm not ready to spend money in that yet. So I'm just gonna fix what I can do. So the bottom, I'm gonna fix the corner. I'll have to remove the T-molding, and then we can start getting the all the bits. So I'll have to redo the panel here. I'm gonna have to find a bezel, screen bezel, the art for the bezel. Sorry, it's all here. And then the glass, strip the glass, and find hopefully new or stock or used Pac Man. Fix the lights, and that's at least then that's the cab cosmetically sorted, and then we'll start worrying about what's inside, what works, what doesn't, what needs to be worked on. So that's another full project. I'd say it's going to take me It'll take me a few months because obviously I can only work on these sporadically when I'm not working on music and when I'm not working on stuff on the house and when I'm not at work. So yeah, hopefully we'll get a cool series of videos out of it. Anyway, I suppose this one is long enough. This is actually much better now. There's a bit of give. I actually cleaned that. There's a bit of gunk on the back of the underside as well. Yeah, it's much better. It's not as rigid. Probably do. I'll have to check what color the original controller. Anyway, I think I'm gonna run out of time on this camera. Anyway, so this is a new project starting now. Okay, folks. So I've actually decided to strip off all the wood veneer here. The reason is I do have some wood damage here at the bottom. You can see this is chipping away, so I'm actually just gonna scratch at it. You'll have to excuse all the PS2 games, they're just in the way, but I'm gonna actually just repair that area. God, this is actually really chipping away. But it's easier to do that. I'm gonna just remove as much as I can. I'm gonna use then some wood hardener and to prevent rot and maybe harden all this area a bit, and then just use a small piece of wood here to replace that corner. I probably have to cut it like that somewhere here, and then I'm gonna repair this here. I'll just use some Bondo for here. There's actually a hole here where the plates were for to level it, the levelers, maybe that's what they're called. So I'm gonna just have to fix that. I'll probably just put a piece of wood at the bottom somewhere here, just to strengthen it, like in that corner area here, and screw it from the inside and the outside, and I'll glue it as well, and then I'll fill all this with Bondo. I'm gonna have wheel casters anyway on here afterwards, but just to make sure. Actually, I might just put a piece of wood extending this way and this way just to reinforce it. I'll see how much, because the power supplies are somewhere there. But anyway, so I'll remove that. That's quite actually tedious because it's really well glued on in some areas. It started stripping halfway here, and then it was unglue and unstuck everywhere, pretty much in the corners, and I just literally peel it off by hand until this sort of patch here where to use the bit of heat on the scraper. But that part took a while actually, because it was well glued on in this area, but it was just wood. There's no way I could have matched it, so I think I've no choice. I have to remove all the wood veneer. I also burnt myself, but that's just part of the course. I've taken the monitor out. It's actually here for now. I've the coinder out, the buckets, that's where I put the screws. So most of the movable parts in. I still have the power supplies and the board. Actually, I might need to take the board off. So what I'm gonna do here, because it's actually quite late now, and I need to do to film. I have the control panel here as well. I need to go and film another video for a contest, a Castlevania contest thing, and I need to do that tonight. So I'm actually gonna leave this here for now. Before I leave, I'm gonna just do some hardener here. Maybe, no, I don't think here's too bad. Yeah, I think I just need some hardener over there, and maybe in the inside corner here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just over there. Then, how do I do this? Actually, I can do it from here. And then tomorrow, after work, I can attack the other side. I'm trying to do this before Saturday. Today's Thursday. I'm trying to do this before Saturday, because then I'm away on holidays for a week, so I won't get a chance, obviously, to do any of that. So that lamp is actually really heavy. I'm going to leave it here. You can see all the storm around the board is here. I think it's okay for now. Okay, let's use the wood hardener. I'm just going to pour that in a small container and use a brush and generously apply it here. there you go. That's where I've cut it flush with the other section, and here, yeah, that'll do. What I'll actually do is I'm going to cut a piece of wood. I have a sheet over there I can cut it from. Cut a triangle like that, and then just glue that down, and have small strips of wood, maybe 4 or 3. Yeah, 3. I'll get away with one big one here, probably a small one, 2 small ones, yeah, something like that, just to connect the two together. And with some wood glue, it'll actually be tight. It's actually mostly cosmetic. It's not too bad here. Yeah, and we'll have probably the other same stuff on the back here, and here I'll have to find a way to fix all that. But we'll use Bondo or whatever it's called here. I call it Bondo filler, car filler. It's actually car filler. It's what is it called? ISO something. Still an ISO palm. There you go. I think this is the fiber one. I want the where is it? No, maybe not. That might be the one. Anyway, so now I'm just gonna treat this side and all over there as well, just for good measure, because there was some swelling here, and I used just a sharp wood knife actually to bring it back down. But I'm just gonna treat it and then sand it down, and then we'll start the repair with the filler. Maybe fix this corner a bit as well. That's not too bad actually. Let's see that. Okay, let's get going. So one thing I need to do here is actually well, rebuild this monitor. This is a Geo 7 Electro Home Geo 7. They're actually pretty common, and there's a ton of information and links and recap kits and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully it won't be too hard to fix. I've already cleaned it a bit, just actually gave it a wipe and a brush, so here it's not too bad. I have the motherboard here, which will need a clean, so I'm gonna wash that actually just in the sink with some washing liquid and water. It's been powered up for a few years. It's been sold as non-working anyway, so I can see here our fuse is most likely busted, which means probably something else actually killed it. So that's what we need to find out. So I'm going to clean this, and then I will order a full recap kit. So that'll include the flyback, the coil here, the horizontal coil, all the caps, and there's a big cap as well, and a few of these guys, voltage regulators and things like that. And you know what? Jeez, there's another fuse here gone. Yeah, there's a fuse kit as well with it. I'm ordering this from was it a few places. There, IanKellogg's.com. Actually, this guy's fried here. Look at this. Yeah, we're gonna need to change a lot of stuff before I even try to power it on. Wow. Yeah, all this stuff here is just so dirty as well. See, that's been sitting, there's been some water damage, I'd say. It's been sitting in a shed for a while. How's the back of it? Yeah, I need to inspect it as well for some minor corrosion here. That's not too bad actually, but I need to inspect all that. Jeez, is it even worth repairing? I'm pretty sure it is. Should I lift this all together and see what's underneath? Yeah, I look it up anyway. At any rate, it needs a clean first before I do anything else. Yeah, that's smooth there. It's probably cold solder point as well. Actually, no, that's just a cap. Yeah, this can go. It's probably fried. Anyway, yeah, let's give it a clean first. So here's an update on the wood repair here. So there was quite a lot of wood actually to remove. It wasn't fully rotted, but it was actually just this bit was the crumbliest, and then when I started looking into here, I was like, you know what, it's a bit too crumbly for my taste. I might as well just fix it. So what I've done is I've cut corners here that I will glue in place, secure with these clamps, and then I'll probably put a nail or two. Put a nail here and here so I can cut my T-molding groove afterwards, and fill the rest with Bondo. I have one for here, and then I have all this section to patch, so I'll probably cut a thin strip of wood from a plywood. It'll be a lot easier to cut that from plywood than this. It'll be a lot more solid, and then I can glue that back in place and again fill the rest with Bondo. It's going to be a good bit of Bondo here, but I don't think I have much of a choice. So I mean, the strip I can run all the way to here and fill the rest. I'll see. Might use fiberglass, actually, might be a lot easier. And since I've taken all this off, what I'll do afterwards is I'll put an extra plate underneath, again made from the same material, and I'll have wheels on it, caster wheels. I always do that, make things much easier anyway to move the cab and repair it, and make things easier here to actually move it. So yeah, let's glue these in place first. And there you go. So there's a lot going on here, but so I've glued and nailed these corners here, well, sort of as best as I could, but it's just to act as filler. Like structurally, the cab is still fine. It just needs sharper corners essentially. So I've done that, and then I started working a bit on the Bondo. I'm gonna say body filler from now on. We don't have Bondo, but I just keep hearing Bondo every YouTube video I watch. So I just started working on the corners with a filler, and I've cut and glued a strip here which I'm holding with all these clamps, and I just use little shavings like that and a mix of shaving and glue to actually fill all these gaps. You can actually see them here. So these are all glued, actually. Oh, that's moving a bit. These are all glued, and I've just in some places I've just used just masking tape to keep them together, and then put a clamp over it just to compress it a bit. So at least we'll fill some of it. It probably needs something else. Once that's done, I'm going to sand it down, maybe scrape it down a bit, and just use another piece of wood just to cover this as well, or fill it with Bondo. I'll probably have to make a sort of a cast. I use leftover Bondo because I can't do too much. I don't want to see that's actually meeting the glue here. It's not ideal, but I used the leftover Bondo I had just to fill the holes here. The only big one is this one, and it actually goes all the way through. So I'm gonna have to use, I'm actually limited in space. I'm gonna have to cut a very custom piece here that goes around like that. I think there's a corner here, an angle. Put that on the back, fill that up, and then I'll have a plate over that anyway. But I don't want it to get worse, and then I don't want that corner to be the weakest corner anyway. This isn't too bad. It's actually, I'll probably just tape it like I've done for this one. This one I can't do, but tape it then from the back and fill it with filler. I'll have, like I said, I'll have a plate. Anyway, I'm gonna cut out a square that literally goes all the way here. Actually, will that cause a problem? Should I extend that a bit? No, actually it doesn't matter. But what we'll have is just a little extra bit of wood. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna see if I can keep this. Should I even? Because I'm gonna redo all this side. I was initially gonna keep that because it's not in bad shape. It's not peeling off anywhere. And then just put a kick plate here that'll cover the extra piece of wood and protect the bottom. I might do that, just get a metal kick plate or something like that. See, I can use something like that. Actually, you know what? That would be perfect. that would be, yeah, that, holy crap, that would be ideal. It's not as wide actually, maybe. No, maybe not. I need something wider. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I need to think of something. But that actually would be a ideal kick plate. Where did I get that? That was a metal shelf from a unit I salvaged. I have another one. Or I could use something like that. But this is kind of nice and straight. There's holes there already, so I don't need to mess around drilling holes. I might use that. And then I have these. Oh no, I have these edges. So what I could do is actually have those edges here, screw them down, and have the kick plate over it, and it'll overlap whatever. I'll paint the back black. That's what I'll do actually. I'll paint the back black. Put these down maybe here or something like that, because you know, your feet are usually damaging the bottom a lot. The original doesn't have a kick plate, but I've seen a lot of them that have a kick plate, so that's okay, I guess. It won't look bad either. Yeah, I might do that. Would that work? Let's do a check. I'm a sucker salvaging any piece of usable metal I find, or wood, in fairness. So that would actually cover some of it, which I won't be able to see behind. So that's perfect. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use this. I'll cut probably a piece, maybe that wide. That's all I need really. Or maybe here. Trim the corners here. Give it a coat of gloss black paint, and have these as a protector, just to extend it a bit. It'll look nicer. There you go. Anyway, so right now there's not much I can do. I just need to wait at least 24 hours, maybe 48, for the glue to work properly, for the Bondo to dry up. So I'm going to come back and use when it starts gelling a bit more, I'll come back and use a blade and just trim the edge like that, so it actually brings it level to the wood. It's a lot easier to do that when it starts gelling. It's still too yeah, it's not runny, it's gelled, but it's when it hardens a bit after, let's say, probably 30 minutes, something like that, to it's easier to do this than sand it down afterwards. So I'm going to do this over and leave that for a couple of days, and repeat. Rinse and repeat. There you go. Right, quick update. So I am progressing with this, making probably a mess of it, but it's actually mostly dust. I can clean a lot of this afterwards. But we'll have our kick plate here. So what I've done is I've glued some pieces of wood. You can actually see the wood here where the trace like that. I filled this entire area. I'm using just fiberglass right now, just fiberglass paste, just to fill these areas, just roughly. I'm gonna sand that down. This was quite chewed up as well. And where is the piece of wood actually? Going like that this way, but it is all chewed up all down here. So I'm just using that paste as best as I can. I'm just using different spatulas and different stuff to fill that in. The edges here, I'm just using some filler, isopon filler or Bondo, and there's the inner edge here, which will need some work as well, but it's minor, so I'm not going to use fiberglass. I use Bondo for that, and for that as well here. but making some progress. Just filling those holes here, and this one I'll probably fill from inside. I'm gonna fill this one as well. Fill from inside. I actually used Bondo before to fill the bigger gaps, all this area, but it didn't quite take. It was still tacky, and I don't know if it just I used a layer that was too thick, or if I didn't use enough catalyst hardener, but either way I had to take it off and then just use a fiberglass here instead. And the paste is actually quite handy. It's the same cotton you're making it. The P40 is the fiberglass, P38 is the Isopon Bondo filler thing. So there you go. So I'm just gonna wait for all that to set, dry. It's actually setting already. This dry, well, it gets hard or tacky hard pretty quickly. So at this stage I'd probably just use this guy or razor blade you can use. Just chip away, keep some of the bigger spikes like that, so I don't, because these have a tendency to get in your fingers before you sand, and they destroy the sandpaper pretty quickly when you start sanding. So I'm just gonna trim as best as I can and then sand it tomorrow. You want to do that maybe like half an hour after you've put your first layer. See how these. So yeah, it's all good. I can start. So you can do that. I use a wood knife. You can use I sometimes use a razor blade as well, or a Stanley what do you call it? Stanley planer. Different tools. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so small update on this guy now. I've sanded all my patching here, so this is pretty much bar a few bits. This is pretty much flush and level all here. There's actually a bit of bulging here, which I just sand out, sand back down. But this is yeah, this is looking very straight now. Same here. The only thing here is this edge here. We'll probably have to come on, focus. There you go. We'll probably have to build it a bit more material, just to get that straight line. I'll do that next. Here, same thing. We're sorry, I think there you go. We're looking good, all nice and flush, and same thing here all throughout. Probably no, actually wait. Yeah, and here as well. So it's only really this corner here that just needs a bit more material, and then so I'm going to use actual Bondo at this time. Well, sorry, not Bondo. Isopon, the P38, which is the filler, which is what you know as Bondo, and then just to fix those gaps here, just to even out everything, because here it's more important that we get this right here, all this here, because that's where our decal vinyl wood grain thing is going to go. You know, the more I'm thinking about it, the more should I just get rid of this decal here. Although it's good here, and then I still want to put a kick plate, so I don't react. Actually, I'll just do that. I'll just put a kick plate here, because the decal is actually still okay. It just needs a clean now, obviously, with all the dust. And this side is quite good. I'll do a final. Actually, there's a bit of sanding still to do here. I'll probably do a final sanding, see if it needs a bit more patching. But yeah, the next round we should be all done. And then what's left cosmetically for this guy, well, for the structure, is just to put a piece of wood here, actually going over the edges here, so that everything is consolidated and the cab doesn't crumble from underneath, from inside. Put the wheels on and do these edges here. You can see there's been quite a bit of damage here, which is my own doing. I started scratching a bit just to remove some of the weaker wood, and all this crumbled. It stopped here, luckily, so I don't have to redo everything, but I just have to patch it a bit. So we put that on its side when all this is done. And with the wheels on, we'll put it on this side and do those edges. And the external edges here as well probably need a bit of work. So still a bit of work to do, but we're getting there. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably just keep this video just for cosmetic and structural, or actually structural repair. And then when we're done, I'll do another video then for just maybe the decals, overlays, and that kind of stuff. And then a third one, well, at least one for the monitor, a third one maybe to put everything together. This could be a 4 to 5 video series, so stay tuned. But anyway, let's keep working on this and finish this part anyway. Alright guys, so this is the progress so far. So I've done quite a bit. I've done these inside edges here, the outside edges here, all nice and sharp. Still have a few areas to finish. I've done this back edge here as well. Still a few patches to fix, and then I have to work on this edge here. So yeah, you can see it's crumbling a bit. So I'll treat that as well. Sand it down, apply some filler and sand again. Most of it is done. I've done these edges here, the bottom corners over there, this entire area here. And then all here as well was in desperate need of quite a lot of work. Actually, this looks rough on the camera, but this is actually quite sharp. I don't know why that looks so rough here. Yeah, it's because there's a couple here. Yeah, okay. I need to finish that. But the edge here is nice and sharp all the way, and I've done the inside edge here as well. So we're getting there structurally. I'm just gonna finish the Bondo job and put the kick plate. Oh yeah, and the whole thing is on wheels now. We've got wheels on it. I'm gonna put a piece of wood. So the kick plate will cover all this. And here on this side, I just need to use some filler to seal the wood. I'll paint that probably black, or actually no, I'll bring it flush to here and again have the vinyl cover that as well. But there you go. It's slowly but surely. That took me a week actually of work between the applying Bondo and filler and then sanding and finding new gaps and new places, and then getting everything smooth or as smooth as possible and flush. I had to sand this area a good bit as well. So getting there slowly, and then we can start worrying afterwards. Oops, nearly dropped the phone here. And then we can start worrying afterwards about the well, the monitor is probably next. The monitor is probably next one to get that working. At least recap, change the flyback, and then hope that that's all that needs to be done. I don't know if it's working, right now. I haven't tried, but I'm just gonna recap and change the flyback anyway, and then we'll see what else. Probably I have to change the hot and voltage regulator thing. We'll see. Then once that's done, I need to rewire, because here it used to be a Pac Man cabaret. It was converted to a Trojan, but they converted the wiring as well. Not a lot of wiring. It's mostly the edge connector here, but it's non-JAMA, so it was converted from a non-JAMA to another non-JAMA, and then I need to reconvert that to a probably, I'll probably convert it to a JAMA one, make things easier, and then use a converter on Pac Man PCB when I get one. Or, I mean, I can use a 6T21 in there. It has a few versions of Pac Man, Miss Pac Man, Super Pac Man, and all these, and a few other games. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, cosmetic. So yeah, change the harness, and then we'll start worrying then about the cosmetic. So getting all the sides done, So new decals on the side, new T-molding, new Pac Man marquee, Pac Man bezel, Pac Man control panel. So we still have a bit of work to do. So yeah, this series is not done. Let's keep working though. So another thing I'm doing right now is I'm just filling this piece of metal that has holes in it. That was the first piece of metal I was going to use for the Donkey Kong cabaret cab. But anyway, so I'm just going to use this for the kick plate. So I'm just filling it with I had fiberglass on the other side, and I'm just filling it with a filler here, and I'll sand it down, paint that black, and I'll use that as a kick plate for over there. I'm just doing the finishing touches here. I'll just put just filler on the edges just to make everything smooth, so I don't get that sort of texture on the sides, so I can actually put the vinyl wood veneer just all over here, and then yeah, just finishing the edges here. So I'll sand all that down maybe tomorrow, and then we'll be done. We'll be done with the wood repairs, and then we can move on to cosmetics. Right now I'm working on the control panel. I've actually just removed all the moving parts from the control panel, and I was going to place an order for repro artwork, but as I was just trying to just literally scratch off the you can see the artwork that was peeling off here already. Look what I'm seeing underneath. That's the original Pac Man art. It might be still underneath all that. Interestingly, these are all stickers, so they would apply the Romstar generic. I think my Arkanoid has something similar as well, and then they would put just stickers depending on the game. It's just a cheap way to do it, but as much as I'd like to save these, I really have no use for them. Look at all the discoloration. Yeah, I have no interest in them, really, and I just want to, convert this back to a Pac Man, but it looks like, yeah, there's traces of an overlay underneath, and oh man, can I even save that? So this is glued on. You get all this kind of glue residue. You can see it here. Come on, focus. I really need to get the money to get a better camera and stop using my phone for these. But so I don't know what to do if that's underneath, and mostly underneath. Can I save some of it? Okay, I'll try and do my best. I'm not going to film the process because it might horrify you. I was going to use a heat gun. I'm just trying to lift as much as possible, but does that mean, just let me, can I use this guy just very briefly and very gently, at least. Okay, I'm gonna pick at it for a while and see if I can reveal more of the artwork. Well, what do you know? Look at this. This is actually still underneath and in quite decent condition, if you ask me. I mean, here there's a bit of damage and rust, but it's mostly in fine condition. I'm using a heat gun. And these sort of just wood knives. I'm used to doing this with wooden knives. Some people use a scraper, but I just find wood knives literally really gets underneath properly. But look at this. I'm gonna keep going, see how much I can salvage. My biggest worry is the diff drill holes here. So I won't be able to save that, but I might be able to save this this art here, and that would be great. That would be great. Although it's very sticky, I'm gonna have a hard time trying to get that sticky to go. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going, guys. Well, man, look at that. Wow, that actually cleaned up great. Well, at least this part here. I could actually, there's loads of goo left, and actually the silk screen has gone in parts, but most of the artwork is still here. So I'm wondering whether should I make an effort to keep that? Wouldn't make sense, wouldn't it? The top art, unfortunately, it wouldn't be too bad, to be honest, if it was just that. But obviously they drilled extra holes for the buttons, and then bondoed these two. Is that bondoed? Looks like it's bondoed. Should be able to. Yeah, my God. Anyway, so yeah, at this stage I'm not sure what to do. Well, this isn't too bad, I have to say. And the cool thing is, this was actually just a small rectangle just going over all these screws. So I could get just that printed and then sort of restore the bottom, because the artwork here is still okay. It's gonna look weird though. It will look oh man, I don't know, because the new artwork you get just has a different feel to it. Although, yeah, I don't know what to do here. I need to think about it. I'll probably just order a new decal that goes over the entire panel, and be done with it. Because here, yeah, by the time I clean all that, more paint is going to peel off. Such a shame, because the artwork is the actual place where the artwork is. Yeah, I see all these, they're all traces of just the art gone. It's all scraped here. It just went with the glue of the previous artwork. There's not much I could do about it. If it was a super rare cabinet, like there's only a few examples left, and maybe I would consider keeping it. I might just, I don't know what to do here. Let's go with Bondo. I'm gonna have to fill these anyway. Yeah, there's no way around it. I have to get a replacement for this. I'm not gonna repro the or repaint properly. Or but here because that wasn't even, I think that was silk, as far as I know. Well, from what I've gathered from one of John's Arcade's videos, that was silk printed. So anyway, look at guys, that's the good news. Well, it's a funny discovery, right? The artwork was still underneath, and it'll actually give you an idea of yeah, very nice, very nice. Yeah, that's peeling off. That's just it's full of gunk as well. Do you know, it will be a nightmare to clean anyway. I think I'm just gonna replace the whole lot of it. Yeah, I'll give it a clean and reassess after that. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I can save this. I need to actually just treat and sand down all the rust that is here. I see more signs of rust on this guy as well, just small ones, but that needs to be, addressed and cleaned. Unfortunately, I mean, look at, I didn't think it was actually underneath. So that was actually a nice surprise. to see all that. It looks okay from a distance, but it's just up close that, you know, look at that. You know, I can't spend all this time restoring an arcade machine and leave that on it, you know. All this rust. So if I start sanding here, once you start sanding, see, rust spreads from underneath as well. So it's just I'm just going to try and find an angle here. Yeah, you can see the signs here of it's rusted underneath. It's not rusted, it's just a bit pitted, and I'm gonna have to strip everything off, sand and clean the metal, just prime it, and then apply my replacement vinyl over it. That's just the way it is. So, well, I think oh man, I don't want to have to do this. But I think I'm gonna have to continue scraping and scrape all the rest off here. So I've taken apart the metal and the wood. The back of this is actually wood, and I'm just filling the holes. I've put a tape on the back here, and I'm just essentially filling pretty much every hole that was drilled, extra hole that was drilled. So these 6 ones, and these ones were still there. They had filled them, thankfully, with just a very thin plate of whatever it was, Bondo or something like that, 2 sides. But so these were here, so that's perfect. And I've stripped the top. That was the easiest one to strip. The top one, I just cannot scrape it with heat, so I'm just using some paint remover, letting that set for a few hours. I can see it bubbling already, so it's working. And then we'll sand all that, clean the rust on it, prime it, and put it back on the wood. And we'll have to fill these holes as well with fiberglass. Sorry, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be easy now. That'll be made much easier actually, and I'll have to use less fiberglass because I was using a filler for these. So yeah, there you go. And I have the entire assembly, joystick assembly, just disconnected because there's a couple of things I want to do. First, I need to clean this guy, and I'm not sure why it blocks. So I just want to clean all the this rust and gunk and all sort of stuff on it, and then I'm gonna tidy these guys. They're soldered on, and I'm just going to use connectors and crimp connectors and connect them like that. Yeah, so with this guy I need to check what's wrong with it, because I have a feeling this is probably just dirt preventing it. It should be loose enough for sticking out slightly like that, so I wonder why, because it makes sense that it jams, because that big thick piece of metal here is preventing it from moving from side to side. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Could be there's a grommet inside as well, so it could be that's just too rusty and just prevents it from moving. Anyway, right now I can't do much more on the control panel. I need to wait for this to dry. Will I just detach everything here? Yeah, I might just do that. Detach all the unscrew all these, put that in a small just wash them, actually just give them a wash and a clean, and reassemble it, see if it makes a difference. I'd like to keep it. I'm hoping it's not busted. It doesn't really look too bad. It should be easy to fix, but you never know with these things. Anyway, okay, let's keep working. I might just do this. All right, that's the panel. So, take off my mask. That's the panel all stripped and sanded down. Sort of have to move fast here. I don't want to rust set back in, so I'm just gonna briefly just prime it with some paint just to protect the metal, and then I'll sand back a bit around the all the holes here. Apply some fiber. Actually put it back and put some fiberglass, and then do a second coat of paint just over them. Okay, let's get moving. Right here I have I've had the all the control, the joystick assembly just bathing in not Jack Daniels but vinegar, just white vinegar. I have a few bottles of these, very handy, those big bottles to store vinegar, but this used to be white vinegar that obviously has seen its share of rust and will continue to see a lot of it. But I just used that to de-rust some of the part. This was the grommet that goes inside of this guy, and that was all actually fairly gunked and rusted, and so was the inside of this. Should make things a bit better. I'm just going to use some very mild, maybe a wire wool. Sorry, it's a bit of a cough today. Some stuff like that, and just buff them. But I have them now bathing in just water, ionized or whatever it is, with no minerals, just so just to take the vinegar off. So I'm going to sand them just very lightly, and then put it back together. But I'll probably do a few baths of this just to make sure the vinegar is all off. Okay, yeah, it's actually looking a lot better. So let's clean this. I think it's time to test the harness and the inside. So I've actually tidied and cleaned up a bit, getting things ready. But let me get this. I've cleaned everything here. I've already tested those fuses. They're actually fine. Now this is all rigged up for American voltage, so I'm gonna have to use a transformer as well, just to sand or convert the 220 into what is it, 110 or 115 or something like that. But yeah, so everything seems to be okay. I'm not seeing any loose connection or anything broken. So things I want to test this switching power supply. So at some point when they did the conversion, so I think this is the, let me think, I think this is the monitor power supply, and I think this is yeah, this is the isolation transformer for the monitor, and this is the transformer for well, it was going to be the Pac Man PCB, and then the lights and everything. What's interesting about these cabs, the Pac Man cabs, is that the Pac Man PCB actually gets AC 5, is it 5 and 12, but it's AC, and the power is converted on the board itself. But you can still send a DC anyway, just the conversion, you know, nothing happens because it's already converted, but and it ends up being still 5 DC, so you can use a DC as well. But it was AC at the time, so what they've done is they've actually disconnected all the AC lines here and used this switching power supply, because that was converted to a Trojan afterwards. So instead of rewiring everything just for Pac Man, I think we're going to stick with that format. It'll be probably more reliable, easier to fix and diagnose, and yeah, I can then, you know, have that as a jammer harness, and then and put anything I want really in this cab. So if I want to put a 16-1 instead of just a Pac Man, for example, or I have a bomb jack at the moment, you know, while I wait for a Pac Man PCB to arrive. quite afford it at the moment, so it's gonna have to be a probably bomb jack for a while. But yeah, so I think we're just gonna have to go ahead and plug this and just test it and see what happens. I mean, it's not much that can happen here. Maybe a bit of smoke from this guy if it doesn't work, but so I have my transformer here, set for 110. Output. Okay, we got a light here. So there's a few things I need to check. First, I need to check voltage in this guy. This is the monitor supply. So I need to set that to AC. I don't really like doing this with one hand. We got 120 there. 118, yeah. So that sounds about right. This is what the monitor would need. So okay, here we're good. What have we here on the lights? I'm not sure what we're supposed to get. I'm assuming probably a 12 volt. Come on. I'm not gonna have an easy way to test this. I need to set that to DC, sorry. So we have a 12 volt reading here. Perfect. So that means I could technically take the bulb here. Oh yeah, there you go. And this is how the marquee is lit up. High enough, yes. So at least we have a bit of life in the transformers and the switching power supply. I think I just need 12 volts and 5 out of that. So 12 should be that yellow one. There's a light here. What does it say? Green, okay. Red high, yeah, orange is low. Okay, so this is the sweet spot, and then but I'm looking for 12 here. Are we getting 12? Hold on. Apologize for all the weird angle. See, I tried using a tripod for these, but it's just awkward because you can't really see the details of what I'm doing. But then if I use my hands, oh, I'm in AC. Sorry. Okay, we've got 5 here on what should be 12, or about 6. And here we have 1.8, 1.7, 1.8. Can I even just try and adjust that? I don't wanna. It's going as far as 2, just about 2. Do you know what? I think this switching power supply is mostly at 2. That should be 5 and 12, and we're getting 2 and 6. Okay, so this switching supply is gone. I'd say suspiciously halved. Should I even bother trying to fix it, or just to get a new one? These are cheap enough, and they're cheap enough. I don't think it's, you know, I'll take it out. I'll see if I can do something with it, but I'll probably need to buy a new one. Yeah, because by the time I source whatever components are gone in it, pay for postage and everything, it's probably just as easy to get a new one. Yeah, I'll do that. So it's all working. We got the right voltages in most places except the switching power supply. And actually, what are we getting in there? We should be getting, what was it, 115 we're getting at the monitor, 118. We should be getting something similar. And I don't like doing this. I hate doing this on the AC. But yeah, we're getting 115. Okay, so that's good. That's what it should be. Is there anything I should check? Well, this is the monitor RGB. So we've got red, green, and blue. This is either our ground or sync. I'd say it's probably ground, and this is probably the sync signal. And then that's really it. The other ones are connectors for all the buttons and joysticks. But because we're not getting 5 volt anyway, they wouldn't be. Well, they will be connected, but we can't plug anything even to test the harness. So I need a new switching power supply, and then convert this guy to a jammer harness. So I see there's holes here. I would say what they probably did is to have everything nice and tight. They probably brought all these. That would make sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe not. I'd say that's probably where these were though. So we might need to bring this back up a bit, because the Pac Man board is quite big. But we'll see when we get one. That's something we can always deal with later. Interesting though. So that's gonna be, it's just gonna be tedious, shouldn't be too hard. What I'll do is I'll probably take these one by one, just trace where they're going, identify what they are. Actually, no, they're even easier. I'll get the pinout for Trojan, and then just make sure they're correct, but just leave little labels on them as well, so I know which is which, and then I can rewire everything afterwards. These ones are easy because I can trace them back to connectors, but for all these, kind of gets a bit more tricky. And that's the connector for the coin door. Yeah, I just need to match the colors and make notes, really. Shouldn't be too hard. It's just going to take a couple of hours because it's just tedious work. Anyway, let's keep working. So I need to order one of these, and then I think now I am going to focus on that kick plate. Or will I? Or will I? I think we need to move on to the I'm not sure. Anyway, let's keep working. So a little bit of an update on this. I've taken out the whole harness, adapter connector that was here, and I have a brand new one somewhere. There you go. For JAMA. I think these were the same size. If I'm, yeah, are they? Yeah, they were actually the same size. So it was. Let me check. Yeah, okay, so it's the same size. It doesn't matter actually, but actually it doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm checking this, but as you can see, I've made notes of every single one. So as I took them out, I've grouped them together, and actually that's coming apart, but I've done my best to group them together. So this is all for instance, this is all the monitor stuff. So you have the sync, you have red, RGB, and ground. This is the audio one. What is this one? I think this is, yeah, this is the power supply stuff here, coming from the power supply. This is the control panel, I think. Yeah, control panel, and this is the coin door. So just join them together and make it easier to identify what they are. So yeah, anyway, so I have the JAMA standard here. There's only one actually that I just couldn't take out properly that actually snaps, this one. So I have another. I saved all the other connectors, so I'm going to reuse them, and I'll replace this one. Come on, focus. There you go. No, you don't want to focus. Well, you get the idea. So I'm going to replace this one, and then slowly but surely replace the connector. I got a new power supply. That's the old one, but I'm going to obviously disconnect that and replace it. And yeah, I have reassembled as well the joystick, the control panel. So as you can see, it's not looking too bad. You can just about tell where the old buttons were. There's a sort of a shadow. You can't actually feel them, so, but obviously it's still there. Once we have the overlay, it'll be gone. The joystick is nice and just super flexible now. Yeah, it just needed a clean. It was all rusted and gunked up, and then polished afterwards. The buttons are here. There's only 2 buttons, player 1, player 2. There's no fire button on Pac Man, so that's okay. I'll probably need a fire button at the beginning, because I don't have a Pac Man, but I put a 16 one just set to Pac Man. So just for ease of use, I'll probably have a connector inside or a button inside that I can activate by opening the coin door. Yeah, but for now, this is what I need to do. I need to replace that connector, and then and slowly map my way through the JAMA harness. Folks, so it is well, time to start tackling that G07 monitor. So it needs a wash, it needs a clean, because I don't know if you recall, but it was absolutely filthy when we left it in one of the previous videos, and there's only one proper way to wash all the dirt and dust off a monitor, and it's to use water. So we're actually just gonna use water, some washing up liquid, and a very gentle brush, and just you know, put a good dose of washing up liquid, gently brush all the components, and wash it off thoroughly. Don't use a spray wash, just use running water. I'm not going to show you here because I've actually already done it and I forgot to film. Silly me, but we'll do it again in another video. I have another monitor that probably needs a complete restore, so we'll do it then. But this one has been washed, and well, let's carry on with the video. There you go. So that's monitor at least clean. Well, at least you can see the color of the components and the resistors. I thought this was some blackening, but it's actually some dirt here. If I scratch it, it'll go. There is some blackening as well. This is yeah, there is some blackening as well, but this is mostly still dirt that's still there. I actually gave it a brush as well and sprayed it twice with some cleaner, but I think that'll do for now. It's actually a lot cleaner than it was, and I can handle it without fear of catching any sort of infection. And yeah, I cleaned the tube as well. So I'm gonna bring that inside. It's quite cold here now. It's winter and don't want anything to rust and stay wet for too long. So I'm gonna bring it inside in front of a fan and dry it for a while, just to dry for a few days at least. But at least it's clean. So we are in my studio room here, because essentially I just got the cap kit. So we have the cap kit for the G07 chassis here for the monitor, and we have a rejuvenation kit. I actually had a spare one of these. That's the width coil or something. So there's a few more things. There's these heat pads for these guys. Actually, I have one of these guys here. Replacement for these regulators, the big cap, some new fuses, and there's a few resistors as well, and just other bits. Yeah, there's a few resistors here as well. But it's actually for the CBO, which is the 19-inch. There's a few differences here, but they should be about the same. The only difference, notable difference, is this guy isn't included. It's the STR 383. So I'm gonna try see if it works. I don't think they fail very often, but they can. More important is to replace all the caps. I don't see any bulging one. Oh yeah, and I've cleaned it since the last time. Well, I've cleaned it as best as I can since the last time you saw it, but at least it's not just full of dirt and thing. And it's had a good while not to dry. And it comes with a list of all numbers and all the components and where these are supposed to go. So, and I also have a new flyback, but first I'm going to try it with the old flyback because I think there's an issue with the new flyback, that there's a width problem. I've read somewhere that if you add a few more of these capacitors here, like the CBO chassis has, that's the FBO. Geo7 FBO, but CB, if you had, it's missing a few of these capacitors, but if you had them, it solves that issue when you replace the flyback. I don't know how to look more into it. For now, we're going to replace all these parts, and yeah, I think that's it. Straight away, actually, I could see after I cleaned it that this guy is not even connected. See all the leads there; they're all disconnected. So I could actually solder them back on and just power it on, see if it works as is. But ultimately, I know that you need to replace those caps. You know, they weren't meant to last that long, and these are pretty good caps from Ian Kellogg's. So yeah, let's start. Let's do that. As you can see, I've put the monitor in. It looks all nice and clean. Actually, I have to say, quite happy with the cleaning job. I've done the full recap. Change a few resistors here and there, and I've already had it running for a while. I've adjusted some of the pots, like horizontal, whatever alignment, blah 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 blah. Thank you. And well, this is what I get at this point. This is about as stable as I can get the monitor. So obviously there's still something going on. So I've asked on a few forums for help and information on the Geo7 to see what I'm doing wrong. I'm wondering if it's just actually a bad pot at this stage, because it's super sensitive. Like, I really have to, I'm not even joking, like it's not even moving it, it's actually touching it at this stage. That's about as stable as I've managed. If I shake the cap a bit, I'm sure it'll move back in the other direction. So I wonder, I probably have a bad pot. But before I change it, I just want to see what some people who know a lot more than I do about these think. I've put the Trojan marquee back on because it kind of looks good. But anyway, so this is where I am right now. I'm just gonna wait to see what people say. But we're making progress. This is working. You know, the monitor is powering on. The colors are fine. There's no collapse. There's no wavy stuff on the side, as can happen with the. So I think we're mostly in the green here. I just need to make sure, you know, how to avoid all this. So I suspect it's the pot. Let's see what the other guys have to say, and then we'll take it from there. This is very loud. I need to switch this off a bit. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna disconnect everything and then continue with the harness. That's pretty much all I can do until I hear more about this stuff. So I have my chassis here for the monitor, and after asking around, I wasn't sure first about these sinks. So this is the RGB input, so you got RGB and ground, and these are the sync, horizontally vertical sync for positive sync. And in this case, this is the negative pin that I use. So most boards have negative sinks unless they have positive sinks. Essentially, But my header is right. Is the RGB here up to the fourth pin, and then the sync is on here. Now, all the sync, the sync is driven by I can't remember in what order, but for positive and negative with these amplifiers, but it's amplified with these transistors. So one advice somebody gave me was to actually first check that these were okay. So I'm actually going to desolder them because it's hard to properly test transistors in circuits. You know, they might read incorrect, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. So I'm gonna desolder them and just check them. And these are all the same. So these are PNP transistors. So it'll be great because we can actually just align them and check them all. You know. So let's do that. Alright guys, big of an update on this. So still not quite working, but I've changed a few things. So I've put new pots here. I've changed the horizontal and or the video IC. I've changed all the transistors here for amplifying all the video signals. I've reflowed all the sockets. I've changed the V plus and the hot here. New coil. Obviously new caps and everything. And I'm still getting that issue. And right now I suspect this is this guy, XO1, which is a horizontal control amplifier thing. Whatever it does, it's kind of the last thing in the horizontal circuit I haven't changed. So I've ordered a new part and I'm going to change this and see if it makes a difference. And if it doesn't, well, I'm going to have to start asking for help, because kind of at a loss now at this stage. But let's see if this makes a difference. I've reflowed a few things as well, including these guys, and yeah. So let's see. I've ordered as well. I've ordered a new capacitor that's actually connected here to the horizontal frequency, just to change it. This is a polypropylene capacitor. The resistors check fine in circuit. So yeah, but bar this guy and this guy now being bad, I'm not sure. The colors are working fine, the focus is working fine, like everything is fine except that horizontal frequency that doesn't want to lock in place. It keeps scrolling. So this guy is super sensitive. Oh, and also I actually got a Pac Man PCB, the original Midway Pac Man PCB. It's all working. There was a couple of ICs that I just needed to replace with them. They were just broken, so there wasn't much troubleshooting required, so I didn't actually film any of it. But it's working, and I've made an adapter here for JAMA. Again, I didn't film any of that because it's rather uninteresting. There's not much to it. It's just connecting the right wires or connectors to the right place. And so this normally takes AC current 7 volt and converts it into 5 volt. But if you feed it 5 volt directly, obviously there's no conversion needed, and it works just fine. So this is wired for just direct JAMA 5 volt to ground, 5 and plus 12. Anyway, there you go, all working now. And well, yeah, I just need to fix this monitor. Okay, so I have some good news. I've reverted the sorry, let me focus on this. I've reverted the sync mod. So I've put, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to see, but this capacitor at the end of my tip there, you actually take that out to do the mod and put it right here instead, and then you chuck out this one and replace with the one you took out over there with an electrolytic capacitor. Now that's to actually prevent that curl occurring on more modern games than Pac Man. So in this case I don't quite need it. I just did it anyway because it was recommended, but I read afterwards, as I said, that it can cause issues. So I've reverted it, and a good thing I kept all the original parts that I took out. I always do that before I thoroughly test something, you know, when I change components, because you just never know. So good thing I still had the old capacitor. I didn't have to order a new one. And well, moment of truth. Oh, I also just put the PCB there. This is the little adapter I made for the Pac Man. So this is actually a JAMA harness now. It's the old harness that I just converted to JAMA, and then I use a little converter. So we're gonna power this on. Come on. There you go. And there you go. We got our sink. We got our... Okay, we're cleaning up. And I've tightened all the controls, so we shouldn't have any... Yeah, there you go. Anyway, there you go. This is... well, we're getting somewhere. We're back. That is so cool. Okay, so there was a couple of fiddling issues with the harness because the pins aren't quite tight enough, so I might have to redo them. But other than that, I mean, if I switch this off here and then switch it back on, it keeps the sync. So I just need to adjust the... so we still got their horizontal issues, so that'll be addressed with those new capacitors over there. Whenever I get them, I can play with the width coil, but in this instance, when you replace the flyback on these monitors, you don't quite get the full width, so you need those caps in. It's not too bad now, but really, if I look at the burn, the original burn, you can see the high score burn here. That should actually be, well, you know, about an inch, half an inch higher up. Same thing here. We can still play with the adjustments here, so I'm going to do that on those pots, adjust the size, and then we'll check how far we get. Anyway, guys, we've got a, well, working Pac Man cab. So pretty much, I just want a few adjustments to do on the monitor. Other than that, the rest is entirely cosmetic. I'm waiting for the side art, the wood veneer. I have some wood veneer from my Pac Man cab, but it's actually a bit too... It's too different from this one here, so I've ordered something similar to this one. I obviously get rid of the dust. All the artwork, I have the T-molding over there. So I'm waiting for the side to arrive, and then I can put the T-molding. But other than that, I mean, functionally, it's all here. All right, folks. So I've update on the cab here. As you can see, I've put well, at least one side of my wood veneer. Finally got it. It somewhat closely matches this one. Actually, the colors aren't great in this camera, but it's a good match. It's actually it's a convincing match. This one has a lot of dust. I need to, but yeah, it's close enough actually that you don't notice it from side to side if you make abstraction of the dust that's on it. So it's very close to the original. That's really cool. Bit of a problem though. What I got, and that's my own fault. I didn't quite check that. I actually ordered from them and they sent me the right size at the time, but I forgot to check. But as you can see, it's not quite wide enough. So I had to make that. I know you can't see it here, but I can because I know where it is. But I had to make it in 2 sections. And so I did a big section from here all the way up, and actually I have to pat my fingers on it. Can't see it now. There's a mark. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, here, because I've used a Sharpie because there was a bit of a gap. But here, this is where the matching line is. It's barely noticeable, and you really actually. It's only in some places you can feel it, but if I run my hand like that, I can't feel it. So I know it's in 2 parts, but to be honest, I'd defy anyone to spot it. even from up close. You really, I can't see it from here. You really have to come very close. And here, maybe if I can focus. I'm gonna turn this. Got too much light coming from outside here. Maybe here. Yeah. So here you can see that line here. In some places shows, but other than that, it's perfect. And then I put the T-molding on that side. So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. I need to tighten the controller here because the artwork is it's been worked on, but it's not being sent. So as soon as I got that done, and I just need to finish fixing the monitor. But once I have all that done, hopefully today, we can move this cab into the gaming room. It's pretty much ready to move. Yeah, that does look good. Oh man, looking forward to having it all done. This has been quite a long project actually, yeah. Especially over the winter, you can only work for so long in the shed here because it's cold. Anyway, let's keep working. I should really film this. So what I have here is I have the cab. Well, I have wood just to protect the other side because it's done now. But so essentially, to apply vinyl, you align it properly. You just cut your length. So I'm gonna cut it here. Actually, I need to do this now. So let's. I really need to get myself a tripod for these, because doing all this with one hand is far from ideal. There you go. So once it's cut to size, so you secure one half with just tape. Just try and keep it as not super tight, but held in place. You don't want it to shift. You just want the vertical to be aligned, and then we're gonna flip that over. We're gonna peel that off up to here and cut the back, and then fold it over slowly. So let's do that. There you go. So it's peeled over. Try and avoid the corners from sticking to anything, because otherwise you'll have a hard time getting it loose. There you go. And we're gonna take this squeegee. This is actually a very plasticky, flexible squeegee I use for surfing, for surfboards. And what I do, the way I do it, is I just slide that underneath, and we're gonna slowly just normally you do it with two hands. So we're gonna fold this over slowly. The squeegee will help you avoid or push air bubbles out, but it'll also avoid any creases. Ideally you hold that side with one hand up like so, and then sort of use the squeegee over. Actually, I might do that. There you go. See, this is the problem here. There you go. So you push all these air bubbles out of the way, and all the creases. Some people use water, or I think you guys in America have something called rapid tack. That prevents the stuff from sticking too early. You can use water. Some people use washing up liquid, or a mix of all of these. I use nothing, and I'm doing it with one hand here, so I'm having some problems, but normally it's quite a simple process. There you go. So I'm gonna keep yeah, this is actually a mess because I made a mess of it, so I'm going to redo this, but you get the idea. And then once you're done with one side, you do the same thing on the other side, because this side is already stuck on and aligned. You're sure that your corners will match and all your lines will, you know, it hasn't shifted sideways. So I'm just gonna unstick this slightly and redo it. But there you go. And there you go, some progress. So I have both sides now completed. Yeah, it doesn't look half bad, I have to say, to humbly say. I wanted to show you as well, this is the wider vinyl, wood grain vinyl decal that I used on the Pac Man cabaret, on the Donkey Kong cabaret cab, and this is the one that I used here for the Pac Man. So you can see they're very different. This one actually matches the front, this one wouldn't have, and while I mean, it would have looked acceptable, you know, but at the same time it wouldn't have matched the original feel. You know, you can feel this actually now. Both sides match. I've cleaned the front here, and they both match. This one wouldn't have. Clearly, it would just have looked weird. Probably not noticeable because it's hard to get both. Actually, from here, yeah, you would have noticed it. So I'm glad I waited long enough to get this. Even though it wasn't quite as wide as I hoped, this would have been just wide enough. But I think I did a fine job. You can't actually see the seams. There's a small scratch here, but overall, no, you really can't see the seam. So kind of happy. There's only a scratch here. But I suppose it just I mean, I'm not trying to get it factory new. I mean, I kept the front here, there's loads of scratches on that, put a kick plate just to the purpose of hiding the work at the bottom, but I wanted to keep some of the original vinyl, and I don't mind some damage or some scratches, you know. I think it adds to the sort of value of a cab, not monetary value, but you want some battle marks, you know. You want to know that this has actually sat somewhere and been played and been used and been abused to some extent. Most of my cabs have scratches and marks that I could remove, but I don't want either, you know. So yeah. Okay, let's keep working. Here's a little follow-up on the Geo 7. So I've put 2 extra caps here. This supposedly is going to enlarge the picture because it was just a bit too narrow. Space-wise, it's actually interesting because these are actually a bit wider, so I have to just bend the legs on the inside. But yeah, there's not much space, so they all fit, they're all connected, but yeah, they're actually they look funny because the coil here is in the way. But yeah, it's all fine. So we're gonna plug this back and see if it addresses our height or width issue, because the monitor is flipped. Anyway, let's check this out. Let's check this. Okay, and this is the Pac Man. Now, the monitor is sorted. So you can see the width is actually pretty much on top of it. I could play with the width coil here a tiny bit, but it looks a lot less square than it was. So those caps definitely helped. I actually had to take one out because they were of a much higher value than the other ones, and it turns out it just needs one. So until I find the original ones are very similar to what the original ones were, I'm just gonna stay with this one cap. Still a bit of gap here, but I think the gap at the bottom was always higher than the gap at the top. If I put another one, it actually goes way off the top, and this gets cut out a bit. So, and there's no amount of adjusting the width coil will do in this case. So I think it's just the value of the cap I have. It's probably too high, but that's okay. It just means they won't blow. But that's probably what is making this a bit trickier. But at least we got a bit of width back, or height back in this case, and yeah, it looks closer to to what the game is supposed to look like. If you remember before, it was all squished, much more squished. In fact, it was a good inch, so that one up would have been where that 5-2 score is, and this had yeah, about that much, so this would have been further up. So there you go. Still waiting on the artwork. Hopefully, well, if I started this video, obviously it's because the artwork has arrived. So I'd say at the time of recording this exact footage, the artwork hasn't arrived, but hopefully it'll arrive soon. Yeah, let's keep working on this. We're almost there, folks. I'll be able to put this back on and be done with Pac Man. Alright folks, so I just thought I'd do, well, final last video for the Pac Man cabaret. It's actually here now, sitting in my game room, and it's been waiting for the artwork to arrive, and well, here it is. I finally got it. So I got artwork done by Ollie of arcadeartshop.com. He's kind of our guy here in Europe, and I got stuff from him before. I got that double dragon art here for this cab, the panel, the bezel, and the marquee. I got from him, and I'm very happy with what he did. And yeah, I mean, he's our main guy for a reason. He's very good. And when I asked him to do the artwork for repro artwork for the Pac Man, he said, "Well, I actually can print on plexiglass now." So it took a bit longer because not everything was ready, but it finally arrived. So here it is. So I'm going to open up the package and see what we have. Oh my good God, folks! So this is the contents now of the package, and so this is the marquee. Little marquee. Is there back to it? No, that's the way it is. On plexiglass. It is stunning. Oh, it really is. Really is cool. Wow. Yeah, that's gonna look sick here. Oh my God, I can't wait to put it up. And that was actually a surprise, because I actually thought this was gonna be a decal, but no, it's actually already back printed on the plexiglass. Oh yeah. Oh my God. That I didn't realize actually this came in a plexiglass. So there's no messing with the marquee. What I got here for this this double dragon was actually a decal, and do you know what? I might get it redone that way and get a plexi version of this, and probably a panel as well, because the panel here is textured, and it's much closer to what you'd find on a Galaga. The texture you'll find on these clearly isn't the same as this, and I didn't know enough at the time when I ordered this to know what everything was and meant. I probably will redo this with a textured decal in time. But okay, this is going to take us a while, because I have to disconnect the entire, well, actually just the joysticks and buttons. And also I'm waiting on new buttons. Normally the buttons on this are the edge, the rim here is white. This should be red, but that's all I got, so I'm going to use that for now. But I've white leaf switch buttons on the way, so I'm going to mix and match them that way, and so I'll wait until they arrive to put the panel on it. Or could I just put the panel on? Might as well. I might as well. I'll just be afraid that I won't. You can see I have a few coins because I'm using it with coins. I had the option to put well, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to put a coin switch somewhere, so I'm just using actually 20 cents. It's still cool to use the actual coins. Anyway, come on, die you already. I'm gonna put these already on the cab, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so here's the marquee down, and we've the monitor bezel, and it looks absolutely stunning, I have to say. Just gonna switch on the light here, but it looks absolutely amazing. That is so crisp as well. Now I have to say, I did not expect to get this from Ollie, and I can't remember if he's called Ollie as well, but I can't remember if we had agreed on that, or if that was his doing, because I'd been waiting for quite a while, and he sent this. I'll check with him afterwards, but regardless, it looks absolutely stunning on this, and that's the way I'm gonna go in the future for sure, because I realized something. First, I wouldn't mind some form of marquee here, maybe have these embedded in the glass, and this cab here, this Galaga cab, this bezel is actually a Galaxian bezel. It's not the Galaga bezel, and the Galaga bezel should be a lot more colorful. So I only realized that recently, and I wonder, actually, I must check the other videos if somebody commented on that. So I haven't been quite sure what to do here, because it just makes the cab sort of unique, I suppose, but it's not quite original. But how original would do you want it? But it doesn't look bad, so I haven't known what to do. But if I decide to get a bezel, I'll probably get it in that fashion, just all printed on already. And same here if I get to replace this ever. I sort of like actually the fact that this cab is unique because of that. It's like the Dig Dug cab here, the Arkanoid conversion from a Dig Dug cab. It's, you know, a few people were at me to convert it back to Dig Dug, and I'm like, well, that's actually the way it was then, you know, they were converted cabs, all these Arkanoid ones, so I kind of like it as it is. It's like I have two games in one. I don't really have an interest in Dig Dug as a game, but it's cool to have a Dig Dug cab, and Arkanoid, there was no real dedicated cab, so, you know, it needs something else, obviously. So it's, you know, it's like I have two machines in one. And I kind of feel the same sort of here, although if you have Galaga, there's probably no reason to have Galaxian, right? But yeah, so I don't know what to do, but this one I'll definitely get replaced at some point, when it wears off maybe, or do you know what, I'm definitely going to order, because that's just a sheet, thin sheet, and then this just doesn't quite cut it. It doesn't have the same feel as those. You can feel how thick they are, and this feels too thin and glossy compared to most everything else. So we're gonna put this guy down as well, I decided, and whenever I get the buttons, we should be a matter of days at this stage, because we're getting a new cab essentially. I've ordered a cocktail table. Oh, well, you probably noticed I got rid of the maximum force cab. It was just too big. It was actually cluttering the place, and now with one less machine we can actually see everything as we walk in. It looks a lot better, and here I decided I'm gonna have a table, a cocktail table. So there's a Taito cocktail table coming from somebody in Scotland, and I'm gonna put, I haven't quite decided, but I think I'm gonna put a Frogger in there. But it needs a full restore, so that's gonna be our next project. But anyway, before we finish this video, I'm gonna put this art on it, and whenever I get the buttons, I'll change them, but we don't need to make a video for that. But yeah, no, the new buttons are coming inside the new cab. The guy had a few buttons as well, and clamps for this control panel. It's not clamped, so it's still sort of moving, so I have it fixed in place, but it's still a bit moving. Also, I'm gonna have to do some fixing on this board. As you can see, there's a few corrupted sprite issues that I probably need to fix at some point. I have a spare board, so I'll put the other board in there, and then oh yeah, and here's another one where I might need all these services. This guy. This is actually another sheet of this sort of dark plexiglass, and I've just put a sticker on it with the Donkey Kong logo. But looking at this might be a better option to better way to do it. So we'll see. Anyway, let's continue working. Folks, there you go. The whole assembly is now done. So I have this beautiful marquee, the monitor bezel, which works really well, and here's the panel. I've also put just white buttons. I had white buttons and I combined the white and the red. This is what there should be anyway, the original. So I'm very happy with the way it came out, and this is officially the end of this restoration. It certainly took a while, but it was worth spending the time. And I actually have 25-cent. Whoops. The coin mix should be all working. I think there's a coin stuck in there already. There you go. So there you go, folks. That's the end of the Pac Man cabaret project. I hope this was interesting. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and well, see you next cab. Yeah.